Okay, I just wanted to make a quick little tidbit. So the HHA comes with a bunch of side tapes for you to put on the extra wheel that you have. If you don't have the extra wheel, that's okay. You can take this wheel off on, I think, the regular Nytrx 2. It has something like that, but maybe not. I have to check because I think the pros have it, but maybe this doesn't have it. But I feel like they're interchangeable and you can buy multiple wheels. So it's probably just one of those things. Maybe it's an oversight. I have no idea, but this thing is pretty sweet. I like that you can take it off. Previously, I had the other ones from HHA, and you couldn't, pull the wheel off real quick and put your tape on there exactly where you wanted it, that kind of deal. It's a little bit easier to do it. I'm actually not going to put mine on there. I'm still messing with some arrows, but I did get it as close as possible. And then, I think in the previous video, it was just basically me saying, hey, you do your 20, 30, and 60, and it gives you an idea. In here, it just tells you to do your 20, line it up, and then you can go down to your 60, and then that'll give you your numbers that you need from their setup, because they tell you whatever number your 20 is, take that number and minus it from whatever your 60 is on that previous sight tape. So they have a pre-made sight tape, and it looks like that. So for me, as I keep going back and forth, I like the pre-made sight tapes because they give you a couple just in case, and that one can stay on that wheel, and I can always just transfer it to this other one. I like that about the Pro. It's just a little tidbit. I came up with something that was close to the 42 on here, and for me, I'm kind of a second guesser. So I want to make 100% sure that I made the right adjustment, because when I put the sight tape up against it with a 0 versus whatever the 42 is, it comes out almost exactly where I want it to. But I like that they give you some extra so that you can kind of line them up. I know it's not perfectly lined up on there, but then you can line up that tape that's on the wheel versus the paper tape, and then you can kind of side by side it until you get to where you want to be. Personally, I'm just trying to mess around with it and get an idea of how it works. I've set up a few of these. It's pretty much the same way on all of them. Personal preference, I always set up 30. That way I just have another marker on my sight tape that tells me that I'm right in there, because sometimes I have set up bows and my 30 is just slightly off on that sight tape, but I go either up or down a sight tape, and my 30 and my 60 are like right where they need to be, along with my 20. So it gives me just a little extra to make sure I'm putting the right sight tape on there. I don't know if you've had to do that multiple times. It's not fun. That's definitely one of the things that would be awesome if they just made like a pre-made round sight tape that's made out of maybe like a metal or something like that, that you can just slide on and tighten down. That way you don't have to keep putting sight tape after sight tape. But so far, I know that even these have held up pretty well. I always just make sure that I wipe down whatever I use with just a little bit of alcohol. That way the adhesive sticks to it. But these have held up really well. I'm not there yet. I don't wanna put a sight tape on it just yet. I can kind of mess with the wheel with that pre-made setup, that blank setup, and shoot it like that for a while until I make up my mind. And that kind of brings me to the next thing in the build. So with the HHA, I've already figured out what I want to do with this, and I think so far it's been great. I've shot a bunch of different arrows. I have a hard time getting away from the Axis arrows from Easton. They're just a really good quality arrow that has done me really good. I can't say enough good things about it. But I'm open to trying new things. I'm always kind of tinkering with stuff to see what fits me, but I always end up coming back to the Axis in a 340 or 300 spine, set up the way I want it. One of the things I've been messing with is I ordered a couple of these from Knock On. archery just to kind of check them out and kind of get an idea. But I've had a couple dozen from them. Mostly I had them set up for just some fun 3D archery, shooting outdoors, stuff like that. Because even in the wind, these things, you know, people say, oh, the four fletch creates more drift or something like that. I haven't had that effect, but it's windy today, and this thing, these just fly great. I was shooting out to 60. I did push it out a little bit further, you know, 70, just to kind of see if I'm in the ballpark. But these arrows with the four fletch, they fly great. They turn right into a great spiral right away and just fly and hit hard. I think this one is a little heavy for me. Just the way I have it, I have a lot of that weight forward just to try to offset a little bit of that extra weight from the four fletch as well as the lighted knock. I'm using them for 3D, so this isn't probably the setup I'm going to use on this new hunting bow, but this is the setup that's going to go on my previous bow. I use that not only as a backup kind of hunting bow, but also because I turned it down from the 78 pounds to probably around like that 72, 73 pounds. I use it for 3D and just all around kind of bow, but it's a good backup hunting bow. But I'm going to set it up with these arrows because I like them. I like the way they fly. I get consistent X's when I'm shooting 3D, 3-spot, you know, stuff like that. And it's a hunting bow. I don't have super long stabs on here. I think these are either like 8-inch with you know, just a little bit of adjustability. I've added some dampeners on the front. I just like to make the bow as quiet as possible. And it's getting windy out here. Everything's blowing around. But it was a good day to shoot. I'm still gonna probably end up shooting the rest of the day. I have a couple more hours. I'm gonna head to one of our local bow shops and see one of our good technicians that are over there. I have a couple of questions for him. But not only that, I'm getting this bow restrung. So the gas strings have been great. The only issue that I have is, you know, it kind of comes with the territory, but it's supposed to be a really long-lasting warranty on those strings. And I say long-lasting warranty because it's 1 year on there, and I don't think these made it, maybe, I want to say 10 months before I started seeing some minor separation around one of the upper and lower cams on the actual cables. But it's very minor. It's one of those trouble areas because, you know, shooting high poundage, that's probably where it puts the most stress. But that's why I'm going to get it swapped out. But ultimately, I think I'm going to go with this guy for hunting. The speeds that I can already tell that it's shooting this arrow much faster. Even with that turned up at 78, I shot it side by side there for a while to compare. And now that I'm gonna have it restrung, I'm gonna do it again, and then I'll actually do like a real good comparison video, just, you know, apples to apples. One's gonna be closer to that 78 pounds, and then this one I think is at 75, and then I'll probably turn it down to that 75 on the RX8 Ultra, and then on this RX10 Ultra, I want to shoot side by side at that 75 pounds and see what we're kind of getting. And then hopefully eventually, if I can, I'll set up either the Garmin or I'll set up one of the speed testers just to give me an idea of what's going on. If I have time, I'll record it. If not, I'll at least write it down, go from there. A lot of these shops can get really busy during the day, and I have not invested in one of those Garmins. I wanted to, but I'm holding out because the newer ones are coming out, and I figure the price on the older ones are going to drop, and that's all I want it for, is for archery and for shooting guns and stuff like that. So, but right now, HHA XV3 is awesome, fit and finish. Man, it's super nice. I can't say enough good things about it. It matches that green or whatever is I think it's like outdoor or something or other, whatever the green is for Hoyt, but they call theirs moss, and it matches up perfectly. It's really pretty. It came out super nice. I can't even just go check them out. You have to go look at them. Hopefully a lot of these new bow shops will be getting them here pretty soon. I think they're sending out a bunch of them now that they've been Cerakoted. Of course, you can order them. Another tidbit, I always try to, let people know that, you know, some of those people that are serving their country, as well as police officers, first responders, any of these people that are doing the jobs that a lot of people don't want to do. um, I always urge them to check into these companies because things are not getting cheaper. But I do know that a lot of them want to give back a little bit. And honestly, I support companies that they give some kind of small military discount, whether it's 1% to 5% or whatever they decide they're going to give us. I support those companies. If it's a company that usually doesn't give some sort of discount, I really just don't support that. I don't think that it's mandatory. That, don't get me wrong, but I think that companies that do want to give back, I feel like I'd rather pay them to give back a little bit and use their products and be proud to use it because it's a company that stands behind, some of these characters that go out and serve their country, or are doing their best part to support their community, or whichever way they're going to do it. Even healthcare providers, things like that. I think it it's nice to know that some of these companies are trying to give back to the people that enjoy what we do out here in the outdoors, and I like it. So I'll just say that most of these products that I have on here either came from a shop that will support in some small part for military discount. HHA, the shop I bought the Hoyt from, the Hoyt products, the attachments, even the arrows from Knock On. There's even just a little bit. That's awesome to me. I'm gonna spend my money where people appreciate the gesture the most. And everything that I've bought, I try to do that. If they don't support it one way or another, then I kind of move on to a different company, and I'm okay with that. Same thing, I hear a lot of companies are saying this is made in China, that's made in China, this is American made, that's American made. I'd love to have everything American made. Like I'd be ecstatic about it. I feel like our country would be in a much better place overall. But I'm realistic. The cost of everything is going up, and honestly, it's only going to go up more as we go on. So hopefully, after a time or whatever happens in the near future, we get to see some more of this products being made in America 100%. But guess what? That's going to be super expensive. I don't think anybody's going to be able to afford that kind of stuff. And, I think that that's kind of hurting the products that are going out the door that are so well made and made in America, that are so pricey because people are just like, man, that's super expensive. Well, you're paying for an American made product, and that used to mean something. It used to mean that you're getting probably the best product ever made. But you never know anymore. That stuff changes constantly, and we're getting products from all over the place, and they're wonderful products, and they're pretty hard to beat all over the place. But I like to support America. I like to support our country. I like to support our local businesses, stuff like that, and I appreciate that they support us. So yeah, that's it. So far, this has been a great day to set up a bow. It was windy, and I still had a great time. I'm actually gonna head back out to the range and put another couple hundred arrows down the range and have some fun. But thank you guys for watching. I know my videos are probably pretty boring, but I figured I would give a couple of tidbits on this HHA. They're super easy to set up if you just take the time, read the instructions. I've set up a few of them, and I just always read the instructions because I don't know if something's changed or something's different, but it goes a long way. I did make another video saying how I kind of messed up because I was messing with it, and I made adjustments on stuff that I probably should have left alone initially and kind of went from there. But it's my first Nytrx Pro setup, so I've just been having fun with it, playing with it, and so far, if I could give it anything, I would say it's a solid product. It's pretty awesome. I like the adjustability. The Cerakote was worth the wait. You know, the regular black ones, don't get me wrong, if I could have got that faster, I probably would have, but honestly, I'm glad I waited and just got what I wanted initially, because still a great product. It looks great, and I know that it's going to last a really long time. But yeah, that's it for this kind of setup. Look at the RX10 Ultra with the HHA. Another thing that's kind of newer, and I don't know how many people have actually done too many reviews besides the big names and such, but the R7 from Hamskea, that thing is awesome. I can't say enough good things about that either. But I've shot, you know, a couple different ones. I think I have a Trinity on a Bowtech. I think I have set up quite a few Epsilons on different bows. I had another RX8 Ultra that I set up with an Epsilon, and I actually gave that bow to my brother after I set it up with an HHA and everything. And then I had an RX7 that I first got, and it was just a phenomenal bow. Pulled super smooth, and I had such a good time with it, but it just was a bit slow for me, and even the 80 pounder was a bit slow, and going up to the RX8 and 80 pounds was definitely a lot more in line with what I was looking for. But man, these Hamskeas are durable. I did take a pretty nasty fall with this pretty much exact setup, and I don't know if you can see it, but there's some slight scratches there, here. I ended up falling hard enough that I broke one of my axis arrows. There's some scuffs on a few different spots. I think I dinged up, you know, some of the paint here and there, but ultimately it held up pretty well. I actually was very surprised. I fell on some pretty rough territory up in the mountains on an elk hunt, and I hit hard. It wasn't something that I was expecting, but I slipped on some sort of shale when I was coming down the side of a mountain, and yeah, I kind of let the bow go and just fell back on my pack and slid down the side, and I was very surprised. I got back to camp and shot the bow, and it was still dead on, like you know, everything. I think even that ultra view that I had on there, I was kind of scared that it might have been bumped or messed up, but it's held up pretty well. I know that ultra view is pretty heavy, and there's some design flaws here and there, but man, that thing has held up for me at least pretty well, because that was a nasty fall. And I did pretty much yeet that bow down the side of that mountain because I lost my footing completely. It's rare, but it happens to me. I've had a couple of other spills, but not as bad as that one. That one was pretty rough, and I was very thankful to have some pretty decent quality gear after that. I actually didn't find that broken arrow until nearly like the next season, I think. I went back through some of my hunting gear, and I saw the arrow, and we were out shooting, just having some fun, and I pulled one out of the quiver, and I heard it buzz, and I was like, man, that's weird. So I just kind of pressure test it, you know, just put a little bend in it, and that sucker snapped perfectly right in the middle, and you could see that dent where I had dropped that bow hard down that mountain. But you know, you know, just putting together good quality products. I've had a lot of fun with this stuff. I do it all the time. People tell me, like, man, you just like to mess with this stuff all the time. I like setting up my family's bows, my friends' bows, stuff like that, and just tinkering with stuff. I like how all of them work. I just have a good time. I like to go hunting and doing all that stuff. So this isn't work at all. You know, when you really think about it, this is just having fun and checking out new gear and checking out new arrows and just messing around, just having a good time. But yeah, that's all I got for today. Of course, if anybody has any questions or wants me to go over anything else, just let me know. I'll do it. Thank you guys for watching.